how affordable is this affordable housing? So this affordable housing link is elephant in the room, which have been a question of discussion in Kenya, where the employee are being deducted an amount of 1.5% of their gross monthly income and then contributing to a scheme, which is then used to build some houses, and those houses are being sold at a margin back to the contributors, and also they are not giving preferential treatment to the contributor, or they are sold to Kenyans. I don't know the method of allocation which they are using, if it random distribution or just they have other parameters which they are using to allocate these houses. But I have created a comprehensive guide which I have problem with, of how these houses are being distributed and how they have been disseminated or they have been divided. So these houses have been divided into three bags. We have the social housing, affordable housing, and affordable housing for middle class. So I don't know where these mentalities of price discrimination have been so vocal in this regime, where class pricing has been a question in the room, even in the education sector. This price discrimination method is raising a lot of problems. So in social housing, we have three types of units. So you have the studio, you have 1 bedroom, and you have 2 bedroom. Then the size of each, for studio, it is 20 square meter. So this 20 square meter is retailing at a price of 640,000. So in order to get, so this is the basic version of these houses. This is the totally basic version. So the price of this house is 640,000, which you are required to make a deposit of 64,000 in order to get this house. So you need to have 64,000 in your hand. So you want us to ask a simple question. In case you are even employed in Kenya and getting a salary of 19,000, you have, maybe you assume you have a family, and then let me cancel something here. Let's assume you have a family, you reside in Nairobi. Before you save these 64,000, what the duration of time you take, and then what the level of sacrifice you need to make in order to get these competitive houses, which you need to make a deposit of 64,000, is really this housing targeting the group which is purporting to target. Then the monthly rate which you are supposed to make for this house is 3,900, which is technically adjusting all factors is 4,000. Then in this social housing, there is also a 1 bedroom unit, which is technically bigger than this studio, which is 30 square meter. Then this selling price of this house is 960,000. You are supposed to make a deposit of 96,000 in order to get this house. So you are supposed, before this house is allocated, when you allocate this house, that is the point, you need to have 96,000 on your hand. Then you need to be making a monthly rental payment of 50,000. So you can calculate and notice the number of years which it will take you to complete paying for this house. Adjusting, there may be a change of regime which may come and revoke this thing. So just adjust the risk factor. Because this is something which is prevalent to a lot of political factors, might influence your ownership benefit of these houses. So this is something which you must be precautious before you make this decision of committing yourself to paying for these houses. There are a lot of uncertainties which are held here. So if you think it's a good deal, just relax and think twice, because according to me, I don't think it's a good bet. So in this social housing, again, you have a 2-bedroom unit. So this 2-bedroom unit is basically 40 meters square. It is retailing at a price of 1.28 million. So in order to get this house, you are supposed to make a deposit of 128,000. Tell me, this houses is like they are the social welfare housing. This is technically what they are calling social welfare. This is what is targeting people like in Kibera or other shanties or other slums, other people in slums. So this guy is required when he is allocated this house to make a deposit of 128,000. My question is, who in those shanties is having 128,000 pending somewhere to pay this money to the scheme? Then you are living in those shanties, you cannot be able to afford this rent of around 7,000 since it is 6,800, adjusting all the factors, like you make maybe the transaction using M-Pesa will be made where they require some deduction. So holding other factors constant, or maybe you withdraw this money. So it is technically 7,000. Then we move to the other now, which we can say is just a standard version of this housing. So it have a studio. Type 1, we have a studio, which is technically 20 square meters. So this 20 square meters is retailing at 1 million. Can you remember the social housing one, which is retailing at 640,000? So you need to take 1 million minus 640. So this is the difference of 360,000. Now this is where I told you cheating will come. So what parameters will you use to differentiate the individual who will be allocated the social housing and the affordable housing? So that is the question. And you can check the price difference between these units. The size is the same as 20 square meters. Maybe the location can differ. But my question is, which parameters or which standards or which economics computation are there to be able to know how to allocate this price discrimination? Because price discrimination is all about corruption. Wherever there is price discrimination, there must be an element of corruption. Then the deposit, which is 10% of the selling price, you need to make a deposit of 100,000, which is 10% of the gross amount of the selling price of that house. You need to have 100,000 on your hand. So this is maybe we can say these are the lower middle income people who are purchasing these houses. And remember, it is a studio, so it is a single room. Then you are supposed to be making a monthly payment of 7,250. So I want you ask yourself the question, is it affordable or not? I will not conclude again. Then we move to the second unit, which is a studio. A studio, also a single room. So the difference which is differing, this is 20 square meters and this is 28 square meters, a difference of 8 square meters. So this house is retailing at 1.4 million. What you're supposed to have before you get this house, you're supposed to have a deposit of 140K on your hand to pay. Then after paying this amount, you'll be making a monthly payment of 10,120 shillings. Let me say that. Taking in consideration there is transaction cost when paying this thing. Then ask yourself, this is price discrimination again. Since when you maybe it is close to this actually it's close to 1 bedroom which is offered in social affordable housing unit price, which is the selling price here. It is close to that price. I think it's just a smaller margin. The difference between having this 1 bedroom and this and having this studio is not too big. Again, based on square meter, since it's the difference of 2 square meters. So the question now arises again, why do price discrimination again? How are you sure this individual who is here will not cheat, or who is here will not cheat to have this 1 bedroom in social housing? Which parameter are you using to discriminate? From there, you have 1 bedroom unit, which is at affordable housing. So in order to get this unit, it is technically 30 square meter, which is technically equivalent to 1 bedroom in social housing. Then this is retaining for 1.5 million. A difference of just 100,000 from the studio, which is 28 square meter. Then you are required to make a deposit of 150,000 before you are given this house. Then you'll be making a monthly payment of 10,850. I don't feel that this house will be yours, but there is a lot of uncertainty about ownership of these houses. Then you have another one bedroom in affordable housing again, which is the standard version. This is the basic. Let us call it this a basic version, and this is standard version. Then you have another one bedroom, which is basically 43 square meter. It is retailing at 1.15 million. So you are supposed to pay 215,000 and be making a monthly payment rate of 15,539. How affordable is affordable housing again? Then the second unit at affordable housing is a 2-bedroom unit, which is technically smaller as compared to 1-bedroom unit, since it is 40 square meter. So there is some economization which is involved here. The rooms might be a bit smaller, so basically they have economized with the size of the rooms. Then the selling price of this unit is technically 2 million. So you are supposed to make a deposit of 200,000 and be making a monthly payment of 14,450. Even a person with a salary of 40,000 in Kenya is struggling to pay a monthly rate of 10,000, remember. So who are the lower middle income who these houses are targeting? Then to ask ourselves, who are in that bad is the majority of the lower middle income people, and then it is a very smaller margin. So this amount may sound smaller, but in real sense, this is a very huge amount. From there, we have the unit 6, which is also a two-bedroom house. It is basically 64 square meters, so it means the rooms might be a bit larger as compared to this 2-bedroom, which is above here. Then, actually, the selling price of this unit is 3.2 million, which you are supposed to make a deposit of 320,000. Then you're supposed to be making a monthly contribution of 23,128, which is basically 23,128 in except of the transaction cost which will be involved when transacting this amount. Then this is the amount which you need to contribute for 2-bedroom, which is 64 square meter. Then we have a 3-bedroom unit here. So in case you need smaller rooms, which is the 3-bedroom, then the room might be, they must have economized with the room, since it is technically 60 square meters. It is then retailing at 3 million. Then you're supposed to make a deposit of 300,000 and then making a monthly payment rate of 21,680. So the question again, I will ask the question: is the affordable housing really affordable to the people it is being targeted to? The problem I have here, there is a lot of problems. First thing is the price discrimination, then the pricing mechanism, which is problematic. Then we have another unit here, which is a studio. Let me make something bigger here, which is a studio, which is cumulative of a shop. So it's a studio and a shop, so even the location is a bit fair. So this studio, which is cumulative of a shop, is a 64 square meter size. Then this house is retailing for 3.2 million. Then you're supposed to make a deposit of 320,000. So you must be having now that 320,000 now at your hand to make payment in order to continue owning this house, or to continue to the ownership of this house. So my question then arises: how many Kenyans who are being targeted for these houses have 320,000 in their bank account line, waiting for the affordable housing to pay and acquire this unit? Technically, is close to 0.009% of the Kenyans. So from there, now we have the affordable housing for middle class. The price discrimination which I'm seeing and divided people in bands or class division. So this technically is like it is targeting now the upper middle class people. So they have a unit here, which is a 2-bedroom unit, retailing which is technically 20 square meter. The price of this house is 2.4 million, which you are supposed to make a deposit of 240,000 before you now start making the monthly deduction or the monthly contribution of 21,160. We need to ask ourselves again, how affordable is this affordable housing? That is my question, and that is the gospel which I want you move here asking yourself. Is it targeting us? Is this better I build my own house? Because what is the minimum price or what is the maximum price of building a square meter of a house, which will not be affected by a lot of political environment? See, this is something which is exposed to a lot of political environment. Change of regime might affect this housing program. Then from there, for this affordable housing for middle class, we have a 2-bedroom unit. This 2-bedroom unit is 20 square meter. So this 20 square meter is retailing at 4.2 million. You need to make a deposit of 20,000 before you start owning this house. So you need, first of all, make this payment of 20,000 and now start making contribution to this scheme. Then you're supposed to be making a monthly rent of 37,030 shillings. Huh? So ask yourself, is it really affordable? How many people, even people who are making a margin of a salary of 150,000, can be able to be making, holding other factors constant like inflation and other things which are facing our country, and being able to pay a rent of 37,030 shillings? Then let us continue. You know, the allocation of these houses is a bit problematic since these houses are being built in public utility lands. So you don't know how the change of regime will take these or how they will move on with these things. So to be on the safer side and avoid a lot of eviction in future and to have peace of mind, please think twice before you commit yourself to this thing. Then you have unit number 3, which is also a 2-bedroom unit. It's basically 66 square meters. So that means the size of the room will be slightly smaller as compared to this one. So the retail price of this house is close to 3.96 million. You are supposed to make a deposit of 396,000. So this means before you commit yourself to this house, you need to have close to 400,000 in your hand to start the process. We are holding other factors constant. There are some legal expense which you might incur in case you want to be in the safer side. You need to hire a lawyer, write some things. So let's say you need some 400,000 somewhere. Then you need to make you need to be making a monthly contribution of 34,915. Then we move to this 3-bedroom unit. This is for affordable housing for middle class. So middle class, maybe you're assuming people with a salary above 6,000. Let us hold like that. Let's hold like, because anybody with a salary below 40,000, even getting the now affordable housing, which we call standard, because now this one is the premium version actually. This is the premium version of the affordable housing. So let's move to the 3-bedroom unit, which is basically 64 square meters. So it's a bit bigger as compared to this one. So you're supposed to pay, the selling price is actually 3,840,000. Then you're supposed to make a deposit of 384,000. Then be making a monthly contribution of 33,856. Then I forgot to get the, so this 3-bedroom unit is a bit smaller as compared to this, since it is 60 square meter. It's basically retailing at 3,600,000. Then you need to make a deposit of 360,000 and be making a monthly contribution of 1,750. Then here we have another 3-bedroom unit, which is basically 86 square meters. So its room is a bit bigger as compared to the one which is fifth here. So the rooms are somehow bigger. So you need to pay, or the selling price is retailing at 5,160,000, which you're supposed to have close, or it is not close. You are supposed to have 500,000 in your pocket to commit yourself to this house, then you're supposed to be making a monthly contribution of 45,500 to own, in order to own this house, as they say. Then you have another 3-bedroom unit, which is slightly bigger to this one above, which is 86 square meter, which is 90 square meter. It is retailing for close to 5 million, 5.4 million, which is 5,400,000, which you're supposed to make a deposit of 540,000 to own this house. You're supposed to be making a monthly contribution of 47,610. Then we ask ourselves, is this affordable housing really affordable? Taking in exempt the cost of RAD, which is public utility RAD. The thing now which is being involved is the material and the nitty-gritties which are involved in constructing. Now, since these houses, when they are sold, they are making a margin. Why is that margin being taken? Because it's not being returned to the Kenyan employer who is contributing to this scheme. So before you commit yourself to these things, just first of all adjust the risk which are involved in these things. Since this is something, these are houses which will be affected by political environment which might be existing in the nation. So where an individual who did not buy to this dot get into to power, this thing can be scrapped off, and now you start struggling with eviction things. And because I don't want you to get yourself there, I just give you my professional and expertise advice. Please run away from this thing as a plague. If you need peace of mind and you need your children to be having peace of mind in 20-30 years to come, run away from this sham. Thank you for watching, and may your Almighty God bless you.